All right, so now we're back from the half in NCAA football 2003. If you were not with us last time, we built a 17-0 lead on Oregon by exploiting a couple of running and play-action plays. We're playing down in the Orange Bowl. And now we're going to go on offense here at the beginning of the third quarter. So once again, I'm utilizing the halfback ISO, and I'm looking for opportunities to break the running back for the Tar Heels, Willie Parker, out wide, because his defining characteristic really is his speed. Not going to break a lot of tackles going up the middle. Okay, here we switch things up a little bit, do a play-action pass out of a running formation. And we get Chesley Borders into the action. And now we're going to go right back to ground pound. And you see here they've kind of split things out wide, so I'm going to go up the middle with this play. And basically what you're doing is you're looking to see what adjustments they made at the line to begin with. See here they're pinched in, so probably can go to the outside. Except for the one guy who came up and broke off his assignment. You do have to worry about those. Sometimes your blockers don't always contain guys for as long as you would like them to. All right, so now we're back in ace formation with the PA counterplay that we've been running a lot of. I tried to hit the tight end quickly, but they've actually gotten covered pretty good, so we probably got a little lucky there. And unfortunately, it means we're going to have to punt. Right, so Oregon's going to get the ball somewhere around the 20-yard line or so, and we're going to get back on defense. And if they're going to try to run our preferred formation, we're going to adjust to it. Okay, I'm going to move the linebackers to the left this time, and they end up going into a passing play. And fortunately, there was just no good angle for the guy to catch it.
It's second down and 10 to go. Ball on their own 17. 4-3 defense.
Okay, I'm still playing with that linebacker audible button.
Number 12 drops to throw. He unloads it. And it's knocked down.
All right, this time we got another pass breakup. Again, precision passing still not something you can really rely on in this game.
Third down and 10 coming up. Ball on their own 17.
You know, the more complex the route or the more covered the route, the more difficult it's going to be to pull off what you want to do. And unfortunately, we lost contain on the quarterback, and he ran for 10 yards. All right, so they're staying in a no-back set here. Again, they are down 17 to nothing. It is important to remember that there's only 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and there we probably should have had interception by Dexter Reed. But okay. So if this was a real game with 15-minute quarters, then we would already be sort of in late game, midway through the fourth quarter kind of stuff. It's hard to tell sometimes how the AI sort of references time, whether or not they reference time on the fact of what quarter it is with the current clock, or if they reference time as in what an overall game would look like. But you can see here they're definitely in passing mode, and our guys are starting to give a little bit of ground. So for the most part, I'm running a cover 2 man to deal with large wide receiver formations, which takes away some of my blitzing options. But then again, I don't have a lot of speed at linebacker anyway. So here's halfback number 2 running outside, and we do pull him down before he gets the first. So we're going to go into a 4-4 front here.
It's 2nd and inches. This is the 8th play of this drive. They come out with 4 linebackers.
And try to prevent them from running for this thing.
Number 2 gets the carry.
And Doug Justice does manage to get up in there and make the tackle.
It's 3rd and inches. Ball right around midfield. They'll use a 4-4 defense here.
Okay, same deal here. We're going to go 4-4. We're going to pinch. It's 3rd and inches. They do try running again, and fortunately for us, again, Justice comes out there and makes another tackle. So we stop the Oregon offense here, and they're forced to punt. So we still have our 17-point lead with a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. So we're in pretty good spot right now. But as I tried to warn in the first half, there is sort of a rubber band AI effect when teams are better, and in some cases much better than the teams that they're playing. So it's very possible that we're going to see that Oregon athletic superiority kick in at some point here. Okay, so we call that same little play-action play out of the running formation, just to get a few yards, keep them off keep defense on their toes. If you're curious, and my guess is you probably weren't, these uniforms that the Tar Heels are wearing here in this game are basically the uniforms that they wore if we get a holding penalty. I'm never quite sure how they figure out what a holding penalty is in this game, but you saw them holding penalties cripple us in Madden 2002. So I really don't want any more of those to happen. So we're going to go into the ace set here. Okay, we're going to take a shot down at Borders. Notice he's double covered. Not exactly the best idea to throw there. And then we're going to do it again because we're not creative. But anyways, these uniforms that the Tar Heels are wearing with the numbers that kind of jump out of the jersey, these are instituted during the Mac Brown years in the late 90s. And they were only worn during the first couple of seasons under Coach John Bunting in 2001, 2002. And then Bunting went for a more traditional look since he was a former player himself way back in the day. I feel like these uniforms are a little garish, as this punt returner gets a heck of a lot more than he should. And to be honest, it's that holding penalty only had a little to do with it. As we go to the end of the 3rd quarter here. Yeah, I thought that the Mac Brown era uniforms were a little garish, but I do agree with Mac Brown that the uniform needed a little bit more color. And so, the insertion of little navy blue into the uniform, I can sort of understand. I'm not a big fan, though, of what they do nowadays, where they're basically playing with the new uniform like every game, and the uniforms are, have all kinds of color combos and can look all kinds of different. So that sometimes you don't even realize that it's your team playing in the game. All right, so Dexter Reed's going to take this guy's hat off. But Oregon is, Oregon showing signs of life here after this punt return.
Second and 3. Ball on the 30-yard line. Number
Now,
7
I've
lines up as a single back.
not been able to show you much pass rush from the defensive line, but again, I don't have
Number 18 with a takedown at the 26-yard line.
a lot to work with.
On the play.
It's all very young.
It's first and 10. Ball on the 26.
I'm pretty sure Oregon's offensive line probably rates pretty well. Oregon is, as I'm sure you've seen, is the number 8 team in the country in this game.
Number 12 drops back to pass. Throws a lob pass out to the left. Justice tackles him for a loss on the play.
All right, so Justice gets another tackle, and Doug Justice, who
Second and 12.
is kind of a
On the 28.
solid but not great middle linebacker for the Tar Heels for about 3 or 4 years.
12 drops the throw. And it's caught. Bounces off the would-be tackler. He's at the 20.
And then this fullback just abuses half of our defense.
That was a good call to go to the screenplay in that situation.
So now they're at the 9-yard line, threatening we've got to do something here. Now, it's a little bit early for this, but I go ahead and go into a 4-4 set
Up in the eye.
because I'm pretty sure they're going to run the ball here. And I try to choose a defense where if they don't run the ball, I'm not going to be hurt by it very much.
At the 5.
And fortunately for me, the lineman decides to hold. So, even the meager gains that halfback 2 got there were taken away. So I'm going to back out of the 4-4 defense into a more traditional look.
It's first and goal. We'll see what they can do in the red zone.
Whether or not you use a 4-3 defense or a 3-4 defense in this game, I mean, certain teams are designed to use one or the other.
14. 4 yards deep.
But it just depends on how you feel about your line versus your linebackers.
Number 12 steps back to pass. Throws it deep downfield. Incomplete. Well, he was
In the next game, in NCAA Football 2004, one of my better teams was Kansas State. And for some reason, for them, a 3-4 defense was more frustrating to deal with than a 4-3 set.
coming up. Oregon in a 5-wide set.
Again, I'm trying to work the line around, trying to find a favorable matchup so I can get my guy into the backfield. Hasn't really worked, and that time didn't work to the effect that they scored a touchdown. But that is why I keep shifting over there. And I don't really remember if Dumas had more speed or more strength, which would decide whether or not you wanted to engage the blocker or try to go around them. But it doesn't really seem to be making a difference either way. So I'm going to go into the onside recovery here, anticipating the onside kick with the 17-7 score. Bobby Blizzard, the second string tight end, pulls it down for us. And now we're going to run some clock, sort of.
Parker lines up in the deep back. I formation.
All right, we got Parker around the edge, and we got 9 more yards.
About 8 yards there.
So now we're going to run it again on 2nd and 2. Now the clock is running, so in theory, if you wanted to run clock here, you could.
Number 4 gives it up the middle. He's at the
Found a hole in the blocking,
brought down at the 30.
or a hole in the defense, and
Big one there.
now we're 20 yards further down the field.
To make plays, as you just saw. He's able to get into the open and create some excitement right there.
It's first and 10. Ball on the 13. Oregon lines up the
I'm not sure what Willie Parker's acceleration rating would be, because that's how fast your player can get to full speed. I know he's got a high speed stat,
at the 9. He carries the ball for 3, maybe 4 yards.
and if you're looking at a copy of the game going, wait a minute, it doesn't have a high speed stat, well, then you're looking at one of the few edits that I actually made to the stats,
Comes out in a 3-4.
on the roster here.
Handoff up the middle. Touchdown.
And we're able to just walk it in. So we've expanded our lead back to 17 with not much time to go, so things are in pretty good shape here.
And he hits the PAT. So with less than 2 to go in the fourth quarter, the score is North Carolina 24, Oregon 7. North Carolina is ready to kick it away. Number 80.
So I guess now the issue is whether or not we're going to screw up this kick coverage. And that would be the only real way to get them back into the game here. So you see me dive in front of the receiver with Chris Curry. Yeah, you got to be careful about when you use your dive tackle. That's one of the easiest ways to turn a little play into a big play is to miss on dive tackles and then have, of course, your defenders be in no position to recover. So now they pretty much have to throw it, and here they sneak it by Coleman, and he gets into the end zone and evidently breaks or sets a new record for the longest pass ever in this game. You know, just to remind people at home, this is only the 23rd game of this that I've ever played. And you'll note that I've not been throwing a lot of bombs, or at least not to receivers who are fast enough to really abuse people with that kind of play. Oh, we'll see abuse. You know, a couple games down the line, we'll see abuse. All right, so here's the onside kick. He, not really sure what he was trying to do there, but he ended up kicking it out of bounds, which gives it right back to us. And so now we can pretty much run out the clock. Oregon does have 3 timeouts, so they can probably get the ball back one more time with about a minute to go. Yeah, but I'm just going to, notice Willie Parker has 90 yards there. I'm just going to get him over 100 yards. So they called timeout here, so. And then they've got it shifted over, so going to the outside is probably not an option. So I'm going to audible into my first audible play, which is sort of like the play action play, except there's no play action. And I'm lucky that I hit Zach Hilton right when I need to. And that moves it up to a first down and pretty much seals this game away. All right, again, I don't like what I'm seeing. We're going to do the same thing. Except this time, for some reason, I'm going to throw a duck into the middle of the field. I'm not really sure if I was throwing it to Hilton, the tight end, or if Aiken had gotten bumped on his route and I was trying to adjust to that. Because the quarterback will adjust to what the receiver is doing. He won't throw it to where the route is supposed to go, which is kind of frustrating because that means the quarterback can sometimes throw it into some really stupid places. But, fortunately it didn't happen to me here. Right, 3rd and 11, we're not going to risk anything. We're just going to run it. Let the time run a little bit so that we're under a minute. And Oregon calls their final timeout. And another reason why you don't throw a pass in that situation is it stops the clock. I'm sure some of you were probably yelling at the screen, pointing that out. And we don't quite get to the punt, so it goes into the end zone for the touchback. So with 47 seconds, Oregon's going to try to come back. We're going to go into a prevent defense. But I'm going to keep a 4-man rush. And the reason I'm going to keep a 4-man rush instead of dropping my defensive end into coverage is because, honestly, I didn't think of it. That that was pretty standard practice for me in these situations, where to make it a true prevent, was to have the defensive end back there too as an extra safety. Here I just kept blitzing the quarterback. So we break up that pass play.
He just didn't catch it. Third down and 10 coming up. All on the 39. Oregon comes out with 5 receivers. He passes it.
And we break up that one too. And injured the shoulder on wide receiver 86, which isn't really going to make much of a difference here on 4th and 10 with 30 seconds to go in the game. Instead of calling prevent, I'm going to call quarters defense. The only difference between that is that I send the linebacker on a blitz instead of sending him into coverage. And we stop the running back there and get the ball back. All right, so now the only thing I'm really interested in is seeing if I can get Willie Parker those 100 yards. So I'm probably going to go up the middle with this run play here because of the way the defense is set up. And that gains us a few more yards. Run a little hurry up again to get Willie back there, and there we go. There's the 100 yards rushing, and we're not going to get another playoff. So that has been NCAA Football 2003. I do enjoy this series better than I enjoy the Madden series, although I haven't played much of this one in particular. And we'll keep moving on with some more Xbox football just so I can get this handled while my cables are connected this way. And with ESPN football from 2K Sports in 2004. So I'll see you next time.